A missing woman, a husband suspected. The truth will take your breath away. Toronto-based New York Times bestseller Linwood Barclay back on Morning Live with his latest. Good morning.
That was quite the intro.
Thank you. I was up all night rehearsing that.
All that was missing was a sort of dun dun dun.
Yes. Can we get music and maybe some reverb? You know what? Full disclosure, Linwood. Normally, I just received the advance copy, and normally, as soon as it gets in my hands, I devour a Linwood Barclay novel. But I'm going on a cruise next week, and I wanted to savor this at sea. So tell us why I should stay with this on deck and cancel the snorkeling excursion package.
Well, you know, it's about a TV morning anchor who gets tossed off the side of a ship.
Oh, gee. Oh, gee. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Tell us about Take Your Breath Away.
This is, it's about a guy whose wife went missing 6 years ago. The police have always figured it was him, but they never had enough on him. And 6 years later, he's got his kind of getting his life together and getting through this and all the suspicion, and he's found somebody new. And he's getting his life back in order. And then one morning, a woman shows up at the house where he once lived. And that house has been torn down and a new house was built on that site. A woman pulls into the driveway and gets out of the car and looks and says, "Where's my house? What happened to my house?" And the neighbor looks over and thinks it looks just like this woman who had vanished 6 years earlier. So what's going on? You know, like if that's her, where's she been for 6 years? If it's not her, what's going on? So that's really our starting point for Take Your Breath Away.
That's an amazing starting point. Where do you get your ideas? Do you pull from news stories or just out of the ether?
Yeah, it's kind of out of the ether. I mean, sometimes a news story will sort of prompt an idea that turns into something totally different, or it's just, you know, like some of the best ideas I ever had. I just sort of woke up at 5 a.m. and it was there, and I don't know where it came from.
And we got to sell Take Your Breath Away, but there's another book that you have coming out this summer, which reminded me of that. Look Both Ways, about self-driving vehicles and a cautionary tale.
Yeah, it's going to be, actually, it's coming a little later in Canada. It'll be out as an ebook and in print by October, but it's coming out in ebook form in other places in June. But yeah, it's kind of, I say think Jurassic Park, but instead of dinosaurs, it's self-driving cars. You've got an island of the test community for all these self-driving cars. It's the only kind on there, and a virus gets introduced into the system, and they all become essentially homicidal. It'd be like being on an island with 1,000 Christines.
Right.
That's a little further away.
Okay, but I can't wait for that one to come. But back to Take Your Breath Away, and this woman who mysteriously goes missing. Everyone thinks it's the husband, Andrew, and then Bree shows up years later, and the house is gone and everything, and where's my house? So there's a shocking reveal, obviously, but it also reminds me a little bit of, there's the castaway element as well, where Andrew's life, his old life comes back. What do you do?
As I sort of got into the book, I was thinking there was an element a bit like the Tom Hanks movie where, you know, Tom is stranded on this island. He only has Wilson for company, and he's presumed to be dead. And he comes back after several years, and his wife, played by Helen Hunt, has, with reasonably, assumed that he was dead, and she has a new life. She's married somebody else. And I thought, what an interesting kind of dynamic, interesting situation. So here we have this guy whose wife vanished years ago, is presumed to be dead. In fact, the police think that he did it. And he's now had this new life with someone else, and lo and behold, guess who may be back in town? And if it's really her, and if she's really back, then, you know, what does he do? Where does his loyalties lie? So there's a lot going on in this story.
Yeah, and people have been waiting for this one. So today is the actual release date. You're such a prolific writer, but aren't all these bestsellers getting in the way of your model railroad work? Can I share a picture of some of your landscaping?
Yeah, sure.
Because I follow you on Twitter, and your work is just amazing. Your son, we've talked about this before, works on Little Canada, but
I did a lot of stuff for them, and I hadn't done
here we go
down there for a while. I posted that one because I said find the dog.
Yeah.
And the dog is actually, it's not that hard to find. He's over to the far right. And some guy said, well, how can you have a little dog there lifting its leg and there's no fire hydrant? So then I got the fire hydrant. But I hadn't worked on it in months. Then I did that little bit of a scene in the last couple of weeks.
It's pretty magnificent. Hey, by the way, we have a rare opportunity to meet you. You've got a signing gig in Burlington at the Public Library Thursday afternoon.
there is a chance, but that's not that one. I'm doing the event for the Burlington Public Library is Thursday, but it is a virtual event. So it's
Oh, okay. Still virtual.
There is a in Toronto, the first weekend of June. There's a crime fiction festival called Motive, and I'll be there. I'll be there interviewing Mark Billingham, and then I'm doing an event on the Sunday in person. That'll be sort of the one chance in the GTA and beyond to sort of get a book signed personally. So that's look up Motive Conference.
Okay.
On the first week of June.
Will do, and it's fantastic as always to see you virtually on a Morning Live. Looking forward to getting you back into the studio, but in the meantime, we'll put up all the links so Morning Live viewers can enjoy Take Your Breath Away. Thank you so much, Linwood.
Thanks, Bob. Always a pleasure.